Volunteer Appreciation Day, 6 o'clock, maybe a little early for people, but they'll be coming in. But today's the agenda is now 6 to 6:30. His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj will be giving the message behind Anand Mela and his opinion how it went. So half an hour Maharaj will speak, and then we will start calling the volunteer teams by areas. And then 7 o'clock onward, the special feast will be ready downstairs. So hopefully we'll be able to finish on time by 8:30. Hare Krishna.
Guru Premanandi Haribol, thank you very much for coming today to our regular Sunday Feast Festival. And we also have our appreciation of all the volunteers that work very hard to make our Ananda Mela Festival a grand success. Last Saturday and Sunday, we had up to 20,000 people that came, and we had up to 500 volunteers that gave their sincere and, let's say, full cooperation to making the festival a success. It's very hard to get people to cooperate in Kali Yuga, especially when there's no incentive to make money. It's simply to be engaged in acts of welfare and devotion to please Krishna and to share their service with the general public. The temple does many things that are for general welfare of the people. We have food trucks, free food trucks that go out and feed people for free, 5 to 6 days a week. We have free education. We have free prasadam every day in the temple, and especially on weekends. We have net free festivals like Ananda Mela. We do the Holy Festival. We do the Vegetarian Vegan Raw Food Festival. They're already finished. In June and July, we have the Ananda Mela Festival, which is finished. And then in a week and a half, we have the Janmashtami Festival, where we'll have at least 15,000 people coming to the temple. And then we have the Rath Yatra, Flavors of India Festival in Crossroads Park in Bellevue, and there'll be at least 8,000 to 10,000 people coming to that festival. Then we have the Namaste India Festival in Sammamish City Hall across the street. We'll get at least 4,000 to 5,000 people coming to that. And then we also have the Diwali Lights of India Festival at the Seattle Center, where we get between 6,000 to 8,000 people coming in the Armory building in the second week of October. Besides that, we have other festivals in the temple. So the idea of the Mahotsav, or festival, is to share with the general public the culture of Krishna consciousness, or Sanatana Dharma culture. So in Sanatana Dharma culture, we celebrate the fact that God is merciful. Krishna is most merciful because he helps everyone to make spiritual advancement. When he spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago, he explained the dangers of meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. Unfortunately, these 4 very negative behaviors, or self-destructive behaviors, have become part of the culture of America, Europe, and India. It's surprising, although Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago in Bharat, today in India, as well as the United States, and Europe, and Australia, and Africa, and all over the world, Russia, people have become addicted to these 4 self-destructive behaviors: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. So we see that although Sanatana Dharma is eternal, in the Kali Yuga there's a general deterioration of it due to many reasons. And we'll mention a few of them now, but the idea is that if we avoid these 4 things and replace them with chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is called the Maha Mantra. Mantra, man means the mind, and tra means deliverance. It is a transcendental vibration or chant that delivers the mind from ignorance. And what is ignorance? Ignorance is identifying oneself with the body instead of the soul. And this is taught in schools. In schools, they teach kids that religion, belief in God, belief in supernatural power of God, belief in the spiritual world where there's eternity, this has not been verified by modern science. Therefore, they ignore it. And they say, if you want to believe in these things and it makes you feel good, okay, you can do it. But according to science, reason, and logic, these things don't exist. There's only the material world. And when you die, everything is finished. So in both ways, there's no eternal soul, there's no spiritual world, there's no God, and on the other hand, when you die, everything is finished. Also, they preach that everything is relative. There are no absolutes. And they also, therefore, limit one's field of activity to one life, one body, material body that's destined to die. Therefore, people become convinced through this materialistic education that one should strive to make as much money as they can and to spend it on as much sense gratification as they can get. Therefore, these 4 very dangerous self-destructive behaviors have become prominent: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. So if you look at our panels over there, in fact, we should bring one of the panels here so people can see it. You need 2 people to do it. There are the statistics, unequivocal statistics, that show how dangerous these 4 activities are. And these activities have become part of the culture of America, Europe, and especially in India. India has become a slaughterhouse of death due to these 4 behaviors. Although Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago in Bharat, but yet, because of modern education, even the Hindus, most Hindus don't follow this. In India, 50% of the Hindus openly eat meat. Another 25% eat meat outside of the house. So that means 75% of the Hindus are eating meat today, where this was unheard of before. And as far as the other 3 things, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, India has an epidemic of alcoholism today, and for many years they've been smoking ganja and and now they are taking different types of medicines that are very dangerous, such as benzodiazepines and others. So we see that not only have the Western countries become overwhelmed with this epidemic of disease and death, but India also. So it's very important today that we understand what is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, and Dharma means occupational duties. So our occupational duties, our eternal occupational duties, are rendering service to Krishna, called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that one recognizes that there is a supreme God, and according to the Vedic culture, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. He says, I am the source of everything material and spiritual. Those persons who recognize this and surrender unto me by engaging in devotional service, they come back to me. So, this is one of the most important verses of the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 8th verse, where Krishna explains clearly that he is the source of everything, material and spiritual. And those persons who recognize this and engage in their service, they come back to him. So, we are teaching this Sanatana Dharma, this eternal occupational duty of the living entity to everyone that comes to this temple and also outside the temple. We regularly go on Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy names in public. We went yesterday. We distribute prasadam not only from our food truck but also individually to people on the street. We give out literature like Bhagavad Gita and other literatures for their edification, to understand the importance of Sanatana Dharma. And we also help people by educating them. We have many educational programs in this temple, beginning with Discover Yourself, which is a course, introductory course to Bhagavad Gita. Now, I want to speak about Bhagavad Gita because Bhagavad Gita is the most important spiritual scripture in the whole universe, not only on the earth, but even in the heavenly planets and everywhere. So, Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita. So he says that Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaisisi satyam te pratijane priyosime sarvadharmam purityaja mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo moksisyami mahasuchaha. He tells Arjuna, Manmana bhava, always think of me. Madhyaji, worship me with your heart and soul. Manmana bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me, and then madbhakta, become my devotee. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, offer all your homage and respect to me. Mam evaisisi satyam te, I promise you that if you do this, then pratijane priyosime, you become very dear to me, and you will come back to me. And then sarvadharmam purityaja, he says, give up all other dharmas. There's Hindu dharma, Muslim dharma, Christian dharma, this dharma, that dharma. Give them all up. And sarvadharmam purityaja, mam ekam saranam braja, and surrender only unto me. Mam ekam means only unto me. Not to the devatas, not to the asuras, not to this one or that one, but simply unto Krishna. And then he says, Mam evaisisi satyam te, I promise you. Satyam te means I promise you. If you do this, you will come back to me and you become very dear to me. So if we want to become very dear to Krishna, we should heed these two verses, 18th chapter, 65th and 66th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Then our whole life will change. We are all involved in what's called the survival, in other words, the survival of the fittest, or a hard struggle for existence in this world. There's a lot of competition in this world for sense gratification. In fact, all wars that take place, like the war in Ukraine and Russia right now, and perhaps a war that's going to take place in Taiwan and China, and many other wars that have taken place and are going to take place in this world, they are all wars of sense gratification. There are two groups or nations that are competing with each other to establish their type of sense gratification. Just like if we look at Ukraine and Russia, they have the same religion, they speak almost the same language, they have lived together at least 1,500 years, as oftentimes as one country, and they have the same diet and basically very, very similar, yet they're killing each other. Now, why is this? It's all based on having a certain type of sense gratification. So the Ukrainians have their own poetry, they have their own foods, etc. Although they're very similar to the Russians, and the Russians are very similar to them, still they're killing each other because one wants to dominate the other. So we see that this struggle for domination, either individually or collectively, when people try and dominate material nature and material assets for their own particular sense gratification, this is the cause of all the problems in the world. First of all, we all were in the spiritual world, but we chose to separate ourselves from Krishna. And then we are put into the material world for two purposes. One, to pursue our false idea of enjoying the material nature through domination. And two, we have a chance to correct ourselves and go back to the spiritual world. Actually, the real purpose of the material world is to give us a chance to rehabilitate ourselves to go back to the spiritual world. Now, what does that mean? When people make mistakes, they are punished. And the punishment is restricting their freedom. Just like if someone steals, they get caught, and their punishment is they have to go to jail. Now, we are all being punished right now, although we don't realize it. What is that punishment? It's birth, old age, disease, and death. We are being forced to undergo these very unsavory and very negative things. And no one can claim that they chose to be born. No one can claim that they're choosing to get old. No one can claim that they will not get sick. And no one can claim that they will not die, because they're being forced to do these things, every one of us. And until we realize that these are the real problems of life, the real problems of life are not political, they're not economic, they're not social, they're not military. The real problems of life are birth, death, old age, and disease, because they're forced upon us because we are committing sins on a regular basis. Now, what are those sins? In Sanskrit, it's called panchasuna. Panchasuna means unwittingly committing sins. Like, for example, if you drive a car, you will kill hundreds and thousands of living entities. If you breathe, you kill living entities. If you walk on the street, you kill living entities. If you clean your home with a vacuum cleaner and Clorox and other things, you kill living entities. We are, unfortunately and unwittingly, killing many living entities, and because of that, we become subject to karmic laws. Karmic laws are reward and punishment for activities. So, once we understand what is our situation in the material world, there is a solution. The solution, as Krishna says, Sarvadharmam Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja, is to surrender to Krishna. If we engage in acts of devotion for Krishna, he protects us from all these sinful activities. And if we don't engage in devotional service, then we are completely subject to the laws of material nature and the laws of karma. So, therefore, it's imperative for every human being to be educated spiritually, to understand what is their real position, what is their swarupa, their real position in this material world. Jivera swarupahaya nityera Krishna das. Who am I? What is my real identification? I am the eternal servant of Krishna. When one comes to that conclusion, then they begin to develop their relationship with Krishna. This is called Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana in Sanskrit. We become introduced to Krishna, we engage in the devotional service of Krishna, and through that devotional service, we gradually develop genuine love for Krishna. And when we develop that genuine love for Krishna, then we come under the protection of Krishna, who saves us from making the wrong decisions and gives us the knowledge to make right decisions in our life. And therefore, at the moment of death, we can remember Krishna and go back to Godhead. So, that remembrance of Krishna, that is a mysterious thing. Many wonderful things happen when we constantly remember Krishna. And this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 9th chapter, 35th verse, where it says, and this is one of the 4 nutshell verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you have Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the 2 most significant Vedic literatures. And it says here, it says, O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos, and at the same time they do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. So Krishna spoke this to Brahma in the beginning of material creation. And Brahma became enlightened. He is the first living entity in this material world. He is the manager, under Krishna's instructions, of the whole material creation. And he is also the original Prajapati, or the person who is populating the world with different species of life. He and his sons, like Daksha and others, are Prajapatis, and therefore they produce all the different species. There are 8,400,000 species in the universe. So what is Krishna telling Brahma here? He says, the great elements of material creation, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. In other words, Bhumir, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, Kam, Mano, Buddhire, Vacha, Ahankara, Ityame, Vinapakatir, Astita. These are the 8 material elements that constitute our bodies and all things that we see. So the great elements of material creation all enter into the body of all manifested entities, like the seas, the mountains, the aquatics, plants, reptiles, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and everyone materially manifested. And at the same time, such elements are differently situated. In the developed stage of consciousness, the human being can study both physiological and physical science, but the basic principles of such sciences are nothing but the material elements and nothing more. The body of the human being and the body of the mountains, as also the bodies of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients. Stop playing with that. Stop playing with the volume. All right? There's an echo. Stop touching it. The body of the human being and the body of the mountains, as also the bodies of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients: earth, water, fire, air, ether, etc. And at the same time, the elements are beyond the body. The elements were created first, and therefore they entered into the bodily construction later. But in both circumstances, they entered the cosmos and also did not enter. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, namely the internal and external, is within everything in the manifested cosmos, and at the same time he is outside of everything, situated in the kingdom of God, or Vaikuntha Loka, as described before. This is very nicely stated in the Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 37th verse, as follows: Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Patibhavitabhis Tabirya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasat Akilatma Bhuto Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who by expansion of his internal potency, of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss, enjoys his own expanded forms. Simultaneously, he enters into every atom of the creation. The expansion of his plenary parts is also more definitely explained in the same Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 35th verse. Ekopya so rachayatam jagananda kotim yas chaktirasta jagananda chaya yadanta andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindam adi purisham tamaham bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead Govinda, who by one of his plenary portions enters into the existence of every universe and every particle of the atoms, and thus unlimitedly manifests his infinite energies all over the material creation. So Krishna as Paramatma, he's present in your heart and my heart. He's present in the heart of every living entity. And from him is coming knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivisto matak smritir jnanam apahanam cha vedaishcha ser sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. Krishna says to Arjuna, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivisto, Arjuna, I am present in the heart of every living entity, and from me come knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivisto matak smritir jnanam apahanam cha. And I am to be known through all the Vedas. In other words, if you read the Vedas, Krishna explains, the purpose of it is to know him. It's not to know Brahma or Shiva or this one or that one. It's to know who Krishna is, because he is in your heart as Paramatma. He's in every atom of the universe. That's why everything works in a systematic way. So, therefore, what happens when we begin to realize these things about our real existence as part and parcel of Krishna? What happens is the following. The mystery of human beings in the material world is transcendental love of Godhead. There's something mysterious about it. And one who is surcharged with such transcendental love of Godhead can without difficulty see the personality of Godhead in every atom and every movable or immovable object. So you are capable, every one of us are capable of seeing God or Krishna on a regular basis in every atom and in the heart of every living entity, because he's present there as Paramatma. If we realize what our potential is, we begin our journey back to the spiritual world. And our potential is that through devotional service, bhaktya mam avijananti, yavanyas chasmi tatpata, tato mam tatpato gyatva, vishitetad anantaram, one can only realize Krishna through devotional service. And once we begin to realize Krishna in devotional service, we become enlightened with transcendental knowledge, because Krishna is the source of all knowledge. And then we can develop these special eyes. Our spiritual senses become activated. Right now, our spiritual senses are covered by this body and the material senses. But when we become conscious of Krishna, our spiritual senses become activated, and we can actually see Krishna in the following way. At the same time, a living entity can see the personality of Godhead in his own abode, Goloka, enjoying eternal pastimes with his eternal associates, who are also expansions of his transcendental existence. This vision is the real mystery of spiritual knowledge, as stated by the Lord in the beginning of is stated by the Lord in the beginning of this world when he spoke to Brahma. This mystery is the most confidential part of knowledge of the Supreme, and it is impossible for the mental speculators to discover by dint of intellectual gymnastics. The mystery can be revealed through the process recommended by Brahmaji in his Brahma Samhita, Premanjana, Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santak Sadeva Hridayesu Vilokayanti, Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom the pure devotees, their eyes smeared with the ointment of love of Godhead, always observe within their hearts. This Govinda, the original personality of Godhead, is Shamasundar with all transcendental qualities. In other words, what is this saying? In simple language, there is an internal internet called the Krishna net. And Krishna, who's already present in our heart as Paramatma, can reveal his everyday activities in the spiritual world to us. We can actually access that. And instead of seeing nonsense things on television, now we connect to Krishna's television. And this happens to genuine devotees of the Lord. They have this power to constantly see Krishna and his transcendental activities and pastimes in the spiritual world through their own heart. So This is exemplified by one, Sanjaya. Sanjaya was the disciple of Vyasadeva. He was seeing what was happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, although he was sitting in Delhi or Hastinapur 5,000 years ago, and explaining to Dhritarashtra what was going on in the battlefield. How did he do this? There was no internet then. There were no television then. He had this internal television through Krishna's mercy. And he was able to see things happening at least several hundred miles away in real time. And he was hearing and seeing what Krishna was speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and what was happening once the battle started. He's not the only one. Vyasadeva himself was seeing Krishna, and behind Krishna he saw Maya, and he understood the superiority of Krishna and the absolute dependence of Maya on Krishna. Brahma himself in the Brahma Samhita is explaining what he's seeing because he's given these transcendental eyes by Krishna. So he says, Chintamani prakadasatma sukalpa vriksha laksha vritesu surabhira bipaliyantam lakshmi sahasra satasam brahma sevyamanam govindam adipurisham tamaham bhajami. He is seeing hundreds and thousands and millions of Lakshmis surrounding Krishna, who is the center of attraction in the spiritual world. And they're all serving him and chanting wonderful hymns and offering him food, and and he's accepting that food as prasadam and giving it back as his mercy. Brahma is explaining what he's seeing of the spiritual world. The whole Brahma Samhita is the realizations that Brahma is having through this internal network of vision, or transcendental vision that has been given to him by Krishna. So you have Brahma, you have also Vyasadeva, you have, and many other illuminated devotees who have developed this power given to them by Krishna. You can also develop this. Once we purify our senses by engaging them in devotional service, our spiritual senses become activated, and we can develop these transcendental powers, just like Sanjaya, like Brahma, like Vyasadeva, and also Narada Muni, who can actually travel to the spiritual world and talk with Krishna. And not only that, he's also seeing Krishna's pastimes all the time in his heart. So we don't realize what our real potential is. We've been dumbed down by modern education, we've been dumbed down by materialism, and we're not aware of what we can actually achieve in this lifetime. So, how can you do this? We are now advocating the following: unite for goodness and act with kindness. In other words, the way to begin to see and understand Krishna as this real reality of life is to at least come to the mode of goodness, or sattva guna, and function according to the Sanatana Dharma principles. That means that we raise ourselves above from tamas and rajas, or ignorance and passion or lust, and we come to sattva, goodness. That's explained in a pamphlet that I've written, and also in a booklet. And you can have that for free today. This is the booklet. It says Life's Problems and Solutions. And this is the pamphlet. Both of these are free. Unite for goodness and act with kindness. Coming up to the mode of goodness. Now, many of you do some of these things already because it's part of the traditional Sanatana Dharma of India. Vegetarianism. But we're not just vegetarians. Even Hitler was a vegetarian, right? We are prasadarians. We cook food for Krishna, and sattvic food, and we offer it to him in love and devotion, and Krishna, accepting our offering, offers it back as his prasad. This is the number one thing to start doing every day. Don't just eat food. One must cook it with love and devotion for Krishna, offer it to him with prayers. If you don't know how to do that, we'll give you a free booklet today, and you can learn how to do that at your home. And once you do that, you're no longer eating food, you're eating Mahaprasadam. That is the number one thing you should start with to change your life from a material life to a spiritual life. The second thing you can do is to begin to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What does this mantra say? It has three words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. When you put these words together into the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a prayer that you're making. You're beginning to address Srimati Radharani, Krishna's eternal consort. And you're saying, oh, Srimati Radharani, internal energy of personification of Krishna's energy of love and devotion. And oh, Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead. And oh, Rama, also the Supreme Personality Godhead, the reservoir of all pleasure. Please protect me so I can always serve you. That's the meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You're not asking for money. You're not asking for anything material. You're simply saying, please, Krishna, protect me so I can always be your servant in this world. If you chant this mantra, everything will change in your life. From misery, lamentation, and ignorance, and false egoism, all these things become purified, and you develop your real ego. What is the real ego, or I am? I am the eternal servant of Krishna. Aham Brahmasmi. I have an eternal soul, and my soul is part and parcel of Krishna, so I belong to Krishna, and I have eternal individual identity, and Krishna is also an eternal person. Therefore, there's a possibility of eternal relationship with Krishna through bhakti yoga or devotional service. These realizations are necessary in order to spend the rest of your life in Krishna consciousness. This was the original culture of India. Not India, of Bharat. India is not the right name. It's Bharat. It's named after Maharaj Bharata, the son of Rishabhadev. So we see that even the name of modern Bharat or India is given by the Muslims who mispronounced Sindhu, and they said Hindu. So that's not the right name of your country. The right name of your country, since the beginning of time, is Bharat. And the real culture of India is Sanatan Dharma. Dharma means your occupational duty. Sanatan Dharma is your eternal occupational duty, and that is devotional service, or serving Krishna with love and devotion. Not serving Krishna mechanically, but serving with genuine love and service. So, when we correct these understandings of who we are, what is our relationship with God, and how to act in that relationship with God, you begin to develop your transcendental senses, and you begin to see things that you didn't see before because we were blinded by ignorance. So this is the benefit. You can read about it in this pamphlet, and you can read more deeply about it in this booklet. Both are free. You can have them today. When you begin to understand how to liberate yourself from the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease, and function in this world as a representative of Krishna to help many others. You share your goodness, you share your knowledge, you share your ability to offer food to Krishna and distribute it as Mahaprasadam with the whole world. That is going to change not only American culture, but it can change the culture all over the world. Now, this is a panel that explains the absolute negative effects of violating the four fundamental principles of spiritual life, which are mercy and cleanliness and truthfulness and austerity. These are 4 universal principles of spirituality in the world. But when we violate them, this is what happens. It says the negative effects of the 4 self-destructive habits. The following statistics validate the 5,000-year ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, that these 4 self-destructive habits should be avoided. So, otherwise, you will not be happy, and you will not be prosperous, and you will not be peaceful. So you avoid these things for peace and happiness. Number 1, intoxication. Intoxication is using illicit and legal drugs, such as fentanyl, such as stimulant drugs, such as cocaine, such as benzodiazepines, and antidepressants, and alcohol, and tobacco. These are generally used by millions and millions of people in the United States, as well as in India and Europe, all over the world. And it leads to, every year, 877,133 deaths in the United States in 2020. And not only that, there are other effects. It permanently damages the IQ. It leads to relationship problems, reduced athletic performance, negative educational outcomes, and reduced life satisfaction. So this is an epidemic in the United States. These are only the statistics of the United States. If you count the world, it becomes astronomically large numbers, right? So intoxication, including coffee, tea, legal and illegal drugs. Some of them are natural, some of them are synthetic. The natural drugs like marijuana and different things like that, and then the others, and tobacco. They're natural things, but they're extremely dangerous and when you use them, and alcohol. So right here, to get to this number, 877,000, 500,000 deaths are attributed to tobacco alone in the United States. 99,000 are due to alcohol. In India today, you have an epidemic of alcoholism, you see. It's not just here. There's an epidemic of it. In fact, in small villages now in India, you have 3 alcohol businesses going in a small village. Imagine, how did that happen? That never happened before. Right? It's developed in the last 25, 30 years, and is destructive of men and women nowadays. I remember some years ago, I had to buy a ticket in Delhi to come back to the United States. I went to a ticket vendor in his office, and I had to wait. There were some people before me, and he was talking a lot with them. There was 2 families, husband and wives. And at one point, he turns around, he has a cabinet, he opens it up, and brings out a bottle of whiskey with glasses and pours it for everyone. No, of course, I didn't accept. But the women and the men started drinking it. I was shocked. I thought, wait a minute, maybe I'm hallucinating here. This is India, this is at least 15 years ago. And this is how bad the situation has become in India, right? And, of course, in the United States. Now, the second thing is the gambling. In America, there are 2 million addictive gamblers, and they lose, on an average, anything from $40,000 to $70,000 in a lifetime of gambling. And in America, in 2016 alone, Americans lost $116 billion gambling in this country, right? And that's 2016. And gambling Addictive gambling, there are 20 million Americans who gamble regularly, and above that, there are 2 million that are addicted to it. It leads to co-occurring addictions, causing high suicide rates, personality disorders, depression, anxiety, poor mental health. Also, gambling leads to illegal activities such as theft, fraud, forgery, embezzlement, larceny, shoplifting, burglary, petty theft, to fund their addiction. Next is meat eating. The World Health Organization, as well as the International Agency for Research on Cancer, have declared in 2018 that meat eating, especially of processed meats, is cancerogenic. In other words, it causes cancer. They didn't say it may. They said it definitely causes cancer. And then regular meat, let's say not processed meat, raises the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and pneumonia. Now, in America every year, over 600,000 people die of heart attacks, and over 600,000 people die of cancer. Now, it's not only because they eat meat, but meat eating does lead to cancer. And it's one of the most, let's say, egregious types of diet that can cause cancer, as well as if you do these other things. Not all those 600,000 die of meat eating, but meat eating contributes to it, along with intoxication and other bad habits. And then number 4 is sexual addiction. So sexual addiction, 1 in 5 persons in the United States have an STI, that is sexually transmitted infection. And then there's STDs, sexually transmitted disease. So HIV would be a sexually transmitted infection, and STD would be, or AIDS is sexually transmitted disease. In America, many millions of people get these STIs, or sexually transmitted infections, and about 38,000 people die of it every year. And then also, in America, there are 1 million prostitutes. There are 463,000 rapes and 930,000 abortions. All these things are related to some type of sexual addiction. So we see what Krishna warned people 5,000 years ago have become the culture of many countries today, and it's causing a massive sickness, death, and misery. Therefore, if we take Krishna's advice, you can avoid all these things. That's why we are advocating living in the mode of goodness. So I will stop right there. If anyone wants these free booklets and pamphlet, you can have it. And we want to thank all our devotees, there are at least 500, who volunteered to help us organize organize and actually make the Ananda Mela Festival a success. It's very hard in this age to get people to cooperate, especially if they're not getting any money. They're cooperating just on their goodwill. We were able to have 500 people cooperate to put on this gigantic festival. With at least 20,000 people came. This is a great achievement. In the spiritual world, everyone cooperates with Krishna. In the material world, nobody likes to cooperate. They like to dominate, but not cooperate. Everyone wants to be the Prabhu, and nobody wants to be in other words, the servant, say. So, actually, we had 600 plus volunteers. And we had 16 different food booths, 30 interactive booths with cultural activities that were very impelling for especially children and adults. We had 400 stage performances, participants, 55 vendors. We distributed 300 spiritual books and 6 Bhagavatam sets. So it was a real success. we want to thank everyone, and we're going to give out these certificates now. Haribol. If you would like to volunteer also, we have 4 more festivals coming up, big festivals. We have Janmashtami on the 18th, 19th, and 20th here, and generally for Janmashtami in 2 days, we get 15,000 people that come to this temple. Okay? And next, after Janmashtami, we have Flavors of India and Rath Yatra Festival in Bellevue at Crossroads Park. There will be a big parade Saturday, and then and then the festival after the parade, and then again another festival the next day. We need a lot of volunteers for that. Volunteering, we have many volunteering possibilities. You can volunteer for our food trucks that go out. We have 2 food trucks. Soon we'll have a 3rd food truck. We need drivers, and we need people who can help distribute the food. We're going to end up with a fleet of food trucks going out in the Seattle area every day in 2 years from now. But right now, we have 2 food trucks that go out. We need volunteers to drive. We need volunteers to distribute the food. We have farms where you can come. We have desi cows. We have goats. We have vegetables. You can learn a lot about farming. We do no-dig, no-plow farming, which is very interesting. You don't need machinery. And it's based on, and we use only cow dung and cow urine, or gomurt and goark for fertilizer, and other ancient techniques for self-sufficiency. And we teach self-sufficiency on the farm. And then we also have fruit trees. Then we also have the temples. We're opening a new temple sometime in September in Bellevue, right in the new Spring District. It's almost twice as big as this temple, and we'll need volunteers to help there. And we also have many educational programs. The beginning educational programs, Discover Yourself, and then we have more advanced courses. We have a school in Issaquah. It's for toddlers going up to kindergarten and 1st grade. And we have many more projects that we're going to do. One project that I want to work on next is open an Indian or Bharati old age, let's say seniors housing, and also an ability for seniors who are having difficulty to live there and have end-of-life activities. So, and then we're going to open other temples in the Seattle area. We have actually 3 farms now, but we want to buy more farms. Why? Because look what's happened in Ukraine. Because of this war in Ukraine, many people's homes have been destroyed. Their whole lives have been turned upside down. And the only refuge they have is either leave the country or live on farms. So we are going to buy many more farms as a contingency plan for people who might be devastated by either war or internal uprising or whatever. So we have many plans to develop this Sanatan Dharma, which is the only solution for sustainable life. And actually going back to the farm, producing your own food, having your own milk from your cow. This was the culture of India for millions of years, and it's been disrupted in the last 2 generations. And we want to bring it back. And it's easier to actually do this in the United States than in India today, which is surprising. So if you want to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, come here on a regular basis, learn, and then act in the mode of goodness, unite for goodness, and act with kindness. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Haribol. So now we're going to give our certificates of thanks to our, we won't be able to go one by one, right? But we should do it in groups, so it won't take too long. Then we're going to have our arti ceremony. Okay, yeah, we're going to show a short video summarizing what happened last Saturday and Sunday. Put it on right away. So how are we going to distribute the... all those things.
श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी
Close the lights. Close the
आरती
lights.
कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की गले में बैजंती माला माला बजावे मुरली मधुर ग्वाला ग्वाला श्रवण में कुंडल झलकाला झलकाला नंद के नंद मोहन ब्रिज चंद हरि सुख कंद राधिका रमण बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की गगन समंग कांति काली काली राधिका चमक रही आली आली लतन में ठाड़े बनमाली बनमाली भ्रमर सी अलक कस्तूरी तिलक चंद्र सी झलक ललित छवि श्यामा प्यारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की कनकमय मोर मुकुट बिल से देवता दर्शन को तरसे तरसे गगन सो सुमन बहुत बरसे बरसे बजे मुरचंग मधुर मृदंग ग्वालिनी संग अतुल रति गोप कुमारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की
So, how's your experience here so far?
It was really lovely. We had a good time.
Vedic village was wonderful. The concept of a Vedic village from Vedic Culture Center, that was wonderful.
Been coming here for, I don't know, 7 years now. Every year you guys put an awesome show. We love the food. We love the energy.
Yeah, it was super fun. I met all my friends here.
We're pretty much enjoying. Food is nice, everyone, the dance, all the stalls. We're having great time.
It was pretty fun. I love the dances.
It was really fun because there was like a lot of people who were really nice, and the dance performances were really good too.
Incredible. The food, the experiences, the dances, everything else, I loved it.
I think it's pretty good. This was my first time and now I regret that I didn't come early. I just came like at 7:30 p.m. today and it's about to end now.
चमकती उज्जवल तट रेणु रेणु बाज रही वृंदावन वेणु वेणु चहु दिस गोपी ग्वाल धेनु धेनु हसत मृदु मंद चांदनी चंद्र कटत भव बंद तेरी सुन दीन भिखारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की आरती कुंज बिहारी की श्री गिरधर कृष्ण मुरारी की
Hare Krishna. So like I said, there's 4 more festivals coming up. If you want to volunteer, please come and be engaged in Sanatan Dharma. Hari Bol. Here, take this.
Hare Krishna. So we have so many volunteers, and thank you. Without your help, these events would not have happened. And we will go with a special format because we will not be able to do justice for each one giving the certificate, and it will take time. So what we call them by group, the service areas. The service leads will call out the names, and if you are here, you can collect quickly your volunteer appreciation certificate. Otherwise, you can collect it at the welcome desk later from your leads. So we will go by in that order, and the team leads will speak about the services that happened briefly. Don't take too much time because we have so many services areas to cover. And there are so many people who actually work in the background. They will go across many service areas, or they will not be known they are actually working for you. They are not seen in the public there. So I would like to call out a couple of names before we start. Of course, we know the biggest volunteer for this event is His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj. So it is his vision, and bringing people to Krishna consciousness through festivals and various activities, that is his vision. Yes, is 1 and we are zeros. So Rasavati Mataji, you've seen her making so much prasadam, and everything she makes sure whatever is needed, she stays back and then makes sure that everything is successful. Padma Govinda Prabhu also helping her in the same service. And this time you have seen the colorful tents, uniform tents. They look very good. Madhuha Prabhu, Festival of India team. And Don Prabhu, who is always ever looking after the fire, the safety and the city liaison and anything related to Northwest Share activities. Don Porterfield Prabhu has been our greatest volunteer for many years, even is still continuing at this age. And Garuda Prabhu, he's taking care of the cow care, setup and tear down, and they've been working. Tear down is a very complex activity, it takes hours, and they've been throughout the night doing this work. And Janavasthala Prabhu, setting up the things, maintenance. He is our go-to man. Anything you have trouble, something set up, where is Janavasthala Prabhu, right? And Dhananjay Prabhu, he was helping in the kitchen and prasadam preparation. And we have some pictures to show later. There are all the seniors were very enthusiastic and helping in the food booth area, like a kitchen and vegetable cutting, and they were all happy and jolly and cutting the vegetables and keeping them ready. So to all our seniors, thank you. And Namavrata Prabhu is not here, but you know him. Taraka Prabhu also he goes by. He's always here throughout the festival. In fact, on Monday he was still at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Was actually going to return the trucks, and he just went home, took shower, and came back. There are other areas like finance and also like people are working hard. Even cash counting is a tough activity, by the way. Okay, Hare Krishna. So with that, I would invite the Vedic village team, Chaitanya Sundar Prabhu. So he will call out the names, and then please come if you are here. Otherwise, you will collect it later. And you please gather as he calls the name. Please gather in front of the altar, and at the end you can take one group photo and then move to the next service area. Please do it in a very quick way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj, for allowing us to coordinate this year's Ananda Mela, particularly the Vedic village. This wouldn't be possible without enormous effort and pretty much sleepless nights for many of the leads. So Jai Shri, along with about 30 booth leads, have really coordinated all these 30 booths. We are going to mention some of the the lead names, and also if you can bring along with each of the booths anybody who has participated, volunteered. I mean, we do have literally 120 names if we want to go through one by one. I believe we would just want to bring the leads and then, yes. Yeah, that's fine. I think this is good. This is good. So we have Bhajagovind Prabhuji. Bhajagovind Prabhuji was helping with the Homam Agnihotra. Radhapati Prabhuji. So the roti booth. One of the most colorful, vibrant booths. They were cooking with the cow dung, so it's really the most authentic way of cooking. That too, as you can see, it was pretty hot day. So to cook it, and with there is a family of 5 other members along with children who have helped, put the good or the jaggery along with the ghee. So it was a lovely presentation by all the people who worked really hard for that one. Thank you all the volunteers for that particular booth. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhuji, and he's got a number of people that he coordinated to bring together for the actual Vedic booth. This is the booth where the message of Maharaj has been presented. You see that there were 3 panels that were presented along with various projects that we have going on, so they were all presented. And then and the book distribution was very amazing, as you saw, 6 Bhagavatam sets, 300 plus books distributed. Amazing work by Krishna Chaitanya Prabhuji and his team. And Upendra Prabhuji. Yes, please stand up. All the leads, please come here if you can. Will. Yes, Nitin Majumdar Prabhuji. Upendra Prabhuji here. Gaurang Chandra Prabhuji, he has been instrumental in coordinating the volunteering by all the youth people, and also he has organized the Jagannath Rath Yatra. So thank you, Prabhuji. Damodar Hari Prabhu. So Damodar Hari Prabhuji was instrumental. He himself, because he couldn't organize the vendor for actually doing the bubbles, he actually did it himself. So thank you, Prabhuji. Ram Raghav Prabhuji, he took up the entire juice booth. So he took up the juice booth completely from scratch from another volunteer, and then he was able to coordinate. So you just want to switch. So juice booth, particularly because it was such a hot, sunny day, it was one of the most visited booths in the Vedic village area. So thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, and also a number of other volunteers who were helping in that booth. So whoever I'm mentioning, please, if you are the lead and you are here, please come here. We would like to recognize you. So they're already, see, that's the real volunteers. They're actually helping for the volunteer appreciation day by serving or preparing the food downstairs. So thank you all who are continuing their service even now. Narahari Priya Prabhuji. So he represented the gift shop. Again, so Prabhuji, if you are here, please come. Madhavi Kishori Mataji. Shitu Goyal. So Mataji, who helped in the so Mataji, Mataji, you have 5 other people, right? So you want to come and mention their names also? Yes. So Janani Devidasi, she helped with the healing waters and spice booth. You have a quick mention of the names of the other devotees.
So it was Vinay Goyal in the roti booth, and Nanda Maharaj Prabhu also in the roti booth, also Pooja Goyal in the roti booth, and our kids as well.
Yes, thank you. And Saki Sundari Devi Dasi Mataji. So, Jayashri, you want to mention some of the areas where they helped?
Hare Krishna, everyone. I just want to thank Yashodamai Mataji for also helping us with the clay Ganesha booth. Their family prepared the entire dough. So we are very thankful for them. Hare Krishna. Yeah. And next is Henna booth. Saki Sundari Mataji, if you're here, please come. Yeah, Saki Sundari Mataji helped us with organizing the Henna booth, and Henna booth is the most popular booth. And they were non-stop serving, doing hennas throughout the day, even till the ending time. So next is Daiviradika Mataji. Mataji actually led the face mask decoration. Mataji led the bracelets making booth. Thank you so much, Mataji. Next is Shriji Vallabhi Mataji and Kalindi Priya Mataji. So they both took care of cookie decoration booth. They both actually made 1,000 cookies in the temple, and then they made the icing, and then they were all ready for the big day. So I'm very thankful to both the Matajis and all the volunteers who helped in that booth. Next is Kalindi Priya Mataji. So she took care of the continuous all-day Kirtan booth. So we got so many comments from many visitors saying that Kalindi Preeti Mataji for taking care of the continuous Kirtan, all-day Kirtan booth. We received so many comments from many visitors saying that the Kirtan was one thing that they really loved, and it was so pleasant, and it transported them to a different world. So thank you so much, Mataji, for coordinating so many singers, kartal players, mridanga players, and you were there both the days singing continuously. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Next is Ramani Katari. So Ramani Mataji took care of Ramani Mataji and Nagina Mataji. They took care of the flower garland booth. So it was one of the very vibrant booth where they came up with very novel ideas of making garlands and bracelets, and then mangtikas, finger rings. So everybody was very excited, and they all participated in that booth, including the cop who was there in the Ananda Mela. That cop also came, and we have some pictures of that. So thank you so much, Matajis, for being so innovative and serving everyone and making everybody happy. Next is Sai Kishore Pauluri. So this Prabhuji, actually we had a chess booth, and this Prabhuji, in the last minute when we asked him to take care of this booth, both the days he volunteered. In the last minute he took the offer, and then he was there, present there all the time. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Next is Sita Preeti Mataji. So Mataji, if you're here, I would really like to thank you so much, because we had only one pot, and then she gathered all the rest of the pots, and she led the pot walking, and then she actually was up till 1 o'clock the previous day on Friday to decorate the pots. So thank you so much for your service, Mataji. And then you were taking one Mataji around the entire Anand Mela, and you were making everybody happy by this service. Thank you so much, Mataji. Next is Nandarani Devidasi Mataji. So she took care of the interactive games booth. Her family, Arisha, along with Arisha, so her entire family was there, and they came up with this scavenger hunt, which was also a very big hit. A lot of kids were participating in it. So thank you so much, Mataji, for coming up with novel ideas and engaging all the audience. Next is Madhurya Leela Mataji. Madhurya Leela Mataji is, she took care of the organic vegetables, fresh vegetables from our farm, that booth, and she went in the morning, she harvested the vegetables, she came, and throughout the day Mataji and Prabhuji were there in the booth. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Next is our dear Swati Mataji. So she took care of the pottery booth, and I would tell this, like on Sunday we closed at around 9 o'clock. She was even serving till 9:30. She had kids in her booth who are not leaving the booth. They wanted to learn pottery. So thank you so much, Mataji, along Swati Mataji, along with Sridevi Mataji and Pratima Mataji. They did a really good service. Thank you so much. And Anand Manjari Mataji. So Anand Manjari Mataji took care of the face mask decoration. So she was also on the stage announcing Yamuna. She was taking care of Yamuna stage. So, but she nicely arranged volunteers for both the days, and she was there. And thank you so much, Mataji, for your services. And next is Srujana Mataji. Srujana Mataji and her entire family was there for the gumdrop structures booth. So that was a huge hit. Every time we have that booth, we just run out of supplies. The kids are like so happy and crazy to build those structures. Thank you, Mataji, for your services. Next is Sushma Mataji. Sushma Mataji took care of the face painting booth along with Kavita Mani Mataji and many other volunteers. So I'm very, very thankful to Mataji because she was also doing her service till the last minute. So the kids were so happy to be in that booth. Thank you so much. Yeah, so without all of you, without all the leads and without all the volunteers, every volunteer, every small little task that you have done, so this wouldn't be possible. Thank you so much, Matajis. So Maharaj is saying that this is an example of women power. Definitely we are blessed by Srimati Radharani, and then that is where we are all getting this power. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for nicely engaging us in the service and making us feel very blissful. Thank you so much.
That's in the food booths.
That's coming.
Yeah, that's coming. This is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Krishna, any one of these names, like anybody who volunteered Vedic Village, please come right now if you are here.
You will just take a picture with Maharaj.
Just come, whoever is there. Okay, just come. Okay.
Please come.
Okay. Oh, after this, since anyway called after this. Just go.
Yeah, please stand.
Don't call Maharaj. Prabhu. Just go there. Come on, everyone who worked in the Vedic village, please come forward, including kids. Don't hesitate, don't take too much time, please walk here. We had to go to the next service area. Hari Bol. Everybody look at the cameraman. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna, few more mentions. So we had Goodness Cookies booth, and we also had rock painting booth. Goodness Cookies, we made 1200 cookies. So there is a big team, huge team behind it, making the cookies, packing the cookies. We want to thank everyone. And rock painting booth was led by Shrestha and other friends. So thank you so much for that. And we want to also thank our preachers, Krishna Murli Prabhu, and then Ajita Krishnadas Prabhu, and Ananga Mataji, and Srinivas Sharan Prabhu for being there in the theme booth and always educating the people about Ananda Mela's theme. A huge call out and a huge thank you for the entire Vedic Village team for making this a huge success. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. I know we may forget names. It's a huge list of names in numbers. Please collect your volunteer appreciation certificates from your Vedic village leads. And next, I want to share one thing about this, how important these events, their effect. one of our DYS students, who is now, he attended here, Bhagavad Gita and other in my batch, is now in North Carolina. He sent a message just a week ago saying that his journey started 6 years ago because his wife actually won a prize for the clay Ganesha. So he sent the picture, he posted like, because of that his wife came and then he came, and now he's actually giving Bhagavad Gita lectures in North Carolina. So you can see some of the pictures quickly. Is that just 4 or 5?
Just I mentioned. Also, Ram Mukund Prabhuji, thank you very much for pulling together a last minute request to put all these banners. He was helping with this along with other banners. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, next up is the important one. Everybody wants to have the prasadam, the food booths. So there are many food booths. I'll just the leads are actually helping making the volunteer appreciation dinner. So I will read out the names for idli and dosha. We introduced first time the idli here. Harivallabha Prabhu, Arun Rangachari and Sujata Mataji and Raji Mataji and his team. And burritos, Ram Mukund Prabhu, Vidyanath Prabhu, and anybody else I missed, Prabhu? Huh? Vijay Prabhu. Panav, Kano, and Radhika Leela Mataji. And pizza, the big team, like this is a new thing we introduced, efficient pizza making ovens. Devanath Hari Prabhu and team it's a big team, and throughout the day when the temperatures are hot, he's near the pizza oven. You can see the 500 degrees, and they are making pizzas throughout the day. And this is the first time we did, the second time we introduced in the earlier festival. Bombay Chaat, Subhash Prabhu and team. And as you know, Bombay Chaat consistently is the #1 food booth throughout the Anand Melas, and they maintain this year too. And Manchurian booth is Nityanand Vilas Prabhu is supposed to take care of it, but he has to go to India in a family emergency. So Padma Devi Desi Mataji from Dallas flew specifically for this purpose to help with the Manchurian booth. And Pav Bhaji and Dabeli, Vipul Prabhu is the lead. And Pakoda, Vivek Prabhu and Arun Prabhu, they took care of it. And again, in the heat, they constantly frying, and I was there one day for half a day for the cashier. It's constant. People are asking for pakodas, fries, and it's not ending. And so that's, and Pankaj Prabhu, Dhokla and Vada Pav. You know that, he's our Nala. He cooks so nice. He's very enthusiastic, cooking and feeding devotees, and he's shown the same enthusiasm throughout the day there. And ice cream, Sunny Prabhu and team, he and his family is doing this service for many Anand Melas, and they're the #2 in the food stalls, and he knows exactly. We don't need to manage him anything. He knows exactly what needs to get, and he will manage it. And sweets, Rabindra Prabhu and Chamki Mataji, and their preparation starts almost Bengali sweets. Specifically Bengali sweets. And their preparation start almost a month before to get everything done properly and the quality, and everyone who takes them appreciative of that. Bengali sweets. Lassi, Kiran Prabhu and team, again, everybody I've seen so many people who have tasted first time the lassi, especially Westerners, they loved it. And the lassi booth is also a hit. They're the #4 or 5 in the overall ranking of food booths. And juice, we introduced this fresh fruit juice with no sugar, and actually I bought so many things. I kept on drinking it because it's so hot. So many people did the same thing. So Ram Raghav Prabhu and Amni Mataji, throughout the day, 2 days, they've been helping with his family, the juice booth, they're managing it. And Chole Bhature, Raj Prabhu and Sarita Mataji. So they come with their family, they set up everything, they make sure that everything is properly ordered. And also, Raj Prabhu does another service for the volunteers. He specifically prepares something, always a lemonade or lassi, and goes around for all the booths, food booths, and they keep serving. Okay, here is Prabhu, drink it, right? His wonderful service attitude. And Sarita Mataji also helps with our all the menu items which we have, dealing with the food administration, making sure that whatever questions they have, we answer them, so that, and the food inspectors also. So Sarita Mataji does this service behind the scene, and that's about the food booths. Anyway, so please collect the volunteer appreciation certificates from your booths. We will be having them at the welcome desk also, and for the next couple of days, and you can collect them. Next, Prabhu. Next is set up and tear down. The leads are here? Jaipal Prabhu, do you have the leads here? Set up and tear down? Actually, I know. So we have Mukunda Prabhu, and there are many people actually. Mukunda Prabhu, Adideva Prabhu, Janavasala Prabhu, Namavrata Prabhu, Jaipal Prabhu, Srinivas Challa Prabhu. Anybody else I forgot? Rajaraman Prabhu, Sudhakar Prabhu. There are some new volunteers, like actually I said Damodara Hari Prabhu and his Mataji, and even Ayan Prabhu and Bhakti Priya Mataji and Siva Prabhu. There are so many these people they set up, and we were there until I myself was there until 1 o'clock. Then we came down and unloaded stuff here. Arun Prabhu, Arun Chaitanya, and all these people are working until 6 a.m. in the morning. Despite all the, like throughout the day they're standing and legs are paining, they continued their service, make sure the site is clean. And Namavrat Prabhu, Janavasal Prabhu and the Leo Prabhu, they continued further until 1 p.m. And Leo also. And so Ben. So this is I can see that Yasododalal Prabhu was there. Yes, he was helping with all the tents. I've seen him. And Srinivas Sharan Prabhu. Anybody else I found it? Vasant Prabhu. Krishna Murali Prabhu. Yes, of course, Krishna Murali Prabhu and myself. Like when we got the pallet mover, battery was over. We were trying to figure out how to make it charged again, and so that we can unload the truck here at the temple. And Nitin Majumdar and so many people, and so they all this tear down activity is like most complex one. You have to do it in exactly at a certain time. You have to start and finish it, but still our activities are increasing. So we will do better and better planning next time. But we go up to 6 a.m. because of the scale of the event. Okay. And Harivilas Maharaj himself was there for both the days. Hare Krishna. So the next service area, you can see some pictures. Yeah, so that is the picture. In the morning, 6:30 a.m. they took it. There are many people who are doing services elsewhere, but that's an on-site team. Yeah, next one. Next service area. Event coordination, sponsorship and advertising. These are the three major things. Event coordination. Rajaraman Prabhu, you know him. Every festival, he is our the Om kind of thing, right? He starts, he kicks off the meeting. He actually knows who are the leads. He calls the meeting. He regularly conducts the kickoff meetings and the planning meetings every week, making sure that people are making progress. And he's doing that despite his busy work as a consultant working at McKinsey. So he's been doing this service enthusiastically for so many festivals, and will continue to do this for the Radha Nil Madhav. And Prabhu is there right from the beginning to the end, making sure that everything is going as per the agreement we have with the city governments. So this is a very important and complex task, and also sometimes very diplomatic also. You have to be making sure that everything is happening without hurting anyone. So, and Prabhu thank you Prabhu, Rajaraman Prabhu, and with all the city permits, whatever you need, you have to apply them in time. And advertising is our Nityan Prabhu and so Kirti Krishna Prabhu, right? Ramakand Prabhu. They are taking care of all our publicity, making the posters, Facebook publicity, wherever we need to display. Remember, we are doing it after 2 years gap, and we attracted so many people. Without their publicity in the planning, these things would not have happened. Ananga Gopika Mataji, they are all part of this advertising and promotions team, and the sponsorships. Now here comes Krishna Murali Prabhu. There are 55 vendors. We started this year we don't know whether we're going to have it or not. So when we had the time, we know we're going to do it. Krishna Murali Prabhu jumped into it along with Jaipal Prabhu, and they make sure that they took care of all the vendor needs properly, and they all had a successful 55 vendors in a short span of time. Devanath Hari Prabhu also. Yeah, so, and I can see that Krishna Murali Prabhu is meticulously planning on the ground where they need to have, making the space and everything. It's very nice, and maybe Prabhu you should take the survey, how it went from the vendors, how they like the Ananda Mela, the setup, whatever they have feedback. Next service area. Entertainment, Lata Mataji, she's been in India and she's coordinating from there, and her representatives are here locally. Bhakti Priya Mataji, Ananda Manjari Mataji, they took care of, and our kids, Vedic Culture Center kids, right? Preeti and team and Hari and all the team, they actually make sure that they also fill the slots, and they also did the emceeing. And Bhakti Priya Mataji, and you can see her right after finishing up the emceeing and everything, she changed her role to tear down the festival and helping her until 1 o'clock, right? Kids activities, bouncies. This is again, Amar Prabhu and family flew all the way from Florida, right? They came all the way from Florida to make sure that he actually manages the bouncies. And this is the booth, is far away. Many people actually don't even go there, volunteers to go and help him. Do you need water? Do you need something? So he has to manage in that heat. Next time we'll do a better job to make sure that kids' bouncies will get whatever they need. The water or lassi, whatever we should serve them. Because they're so busy with the kids, they can't move out from that place. So thank you, Amar Prabhu. I know you're in Florida, probably you're listening to this, coming with your family and helping here. Next up. Stage performance, some pictures you can see here quickly. Volunteer management. Ramesh Perla Prabhu, Radhika Vinod Prabhu, he was leaving to Dallas, so he handed over to Srinivas Challa Prabhu, and then Sudhakar Prabhu, and of course Jaipal Prabhu is also involved. And Srinivas Challa Prabhu actually did a wonderful job, make sure that all the volunteers properly accounted for, and they're going to different places, managing the volunteer booth, and that's an important service, because when people show up, they need to know where they have to go, and they also have to be taken care of it. Thank you, Srinivas Challa Prabhu, Jaipal Prabhu and Sudhakar Prabhu for taking up these services. And also this year, again, we have this, Jaipal Prabhu has taken up a lot of work this year. Not only Anand Mela, throughout the COVID, Jaipal Prabhu has become our welcome desk lead and volunteer lead, whatever is needed. We now, Maharaj also now knows, okay, let's call Jaipal, right? He's become like a very important person and in service of Krishna here, and we definitely pray that he makes great Krishna consciousness progress here. And next one. Yes, we have welcome booth, competitions, and like groundkeepers, you mean picking up the trash and other thing? Okay. I saw Shyam Mukund Prabhu and some, who else mainly? Ayan Prabhu, on the end of the day, he was actually picking up the trash and putting up in the trash cans there. So these are the people, you don't see them, they just go around and pick up, make sure that the ground is clean. And pot washing. Pot washing is continued not only on the day, but it actually continued until yesterday evening. So the last batch was done by Ram Prabhu when I was there. So, and Harilas Maharaj led in the morning. So thank you, the pot washing team. Yeah. So this is post Anandamela. Everybody's tired, but these are people who continue to make sure that all these pots are washed, cleaned, and returned to the right place. Thank you for doing this pot washing service. And then we have the partners. Can you go back? Yeah, the partners are like we have Byron Daisy, who is our official photographer for all our festivals. He just shared the preview of Anandamela photos. We will post it, and if you like it, you can. I think you can get it from him. He's a wonderful photographer. He also likes what we do, so that's what he shows special interest in coming to our festivals. And then we have city government to thank for the police and the Redmond City, and we're at the Fur Culture, and who are actually sponsored our events through their grants. And Sai Prabhu takes care of behind the scene, making sure that we get the right grants. As soon as one is over, he's applying for the next one. He's asking for details. Okay, I want to apply for this. So staying ahead is also important, because all this, it's not just money we're looking for, it's like a partnership. When they recognize, they give a grant, they're actually recognizing our effort. That's what we're looking for. And Leo Prabhu, definitely, and Brett Walk, who is our stage person. He may set up the stage. Though it's a paid service, but his team is also very efficient. They come, they help, they enjoy the festival, and then they just be on time there. So next one, next service area. So for purchases, for Anandamela purchases, all the groceries, whatever you need, we have Subhash Prabhu, Rabindra Prabhu, and then Jaipal Prabhu also. Whenever you call, I'm in the shop here, groceries, picking up something, right? So the purchases are also very important, and purchasing the right amount is also important. And then, as I said, last but not least, the financial services, making sure that the proper cash is accounted for, a cash flow is maintained, and cash counted, deposited in the bank, and then breaking down by the various booths and expenses. The expenses will continue to come in. We'll continue to do this survey for the next couple of days. Vidyanath Prabhu, thank you. And Premayi Mataji helped in counting. Okay, so I also helped there to some extent. And Vaishnavi, and so like Vaishnavi helps her dad very nicely. Srinivas Sharan Prabhu, he is not only giving the money, he also counts the cash, right? And he actually sponsored the t-shirts, all the volunteer t-shirts, $7,500, he actually sponsored. And he just like, okay, we need money, and then, okay, I'll give it, right? So thank you, Prabhu. And all our youth, who wherever they help, like they did the Rath Yatra, they were enthusiastically part in the Balaji procession, and cultural activities, wherever they are, then you are actually you show the joyful festival of India, right? You represent the Vedic Culture Center, and you've been nicely trained and behaved, and so that we can give a good experience to whoever visits our festivals. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I think we covered all the services. And any one of you here, at the end of what Maharaj wants to say, all the volunteers, right, excluding the Vedic village, which is already done, please come here. We'll take one photo here, because now we are not taking photos for every area wise, but all of you can come after Maharaj speaks.
Hare Krishna. We can say that this is actually, Anandamela is the biggest festival of Indian culture in the entire Northwest United States. And we got an email from Madhuha, who brings the Festival of India gigantic truck and participated this year with supporting our putting up of different colorful tents and so forth. He sent an email and he said, without any doubt, Ananda Mela had the biggest crowd for any Festival of India that I have experienced in North America. Yeah. No, he said that this was the biggest crowd he's seen in any temple, ISKCON temple in the United States. So that's quite an achievement. Hare Krishna. So now, no program here is success without Harinam Sankirtan. So we'll chant and dance, because dancing is also part of the science of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Follow Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Gita Gora Hari Bol. Nita Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nita Gora Hari Bol. Nita Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gaur Hari Bol. Nita Gaur Premanandi ki jai. Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Dayani. Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Dayani. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshahai Shilatam Kanakalaye. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshahai Shilatam Kanakalaye. Ito Nishinga Palato Nishinga. Ito Nishinga Palato Nishinga. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishinga. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishinga. Bayin Nishinga, Yudaye Nishinga. Bayin Nishinga, Yudaye Nishinga. Kalashinamadim Saranam Prapade. Nanashinamadim Saranam Prapade. Tavakara Kamala Bale Nakam Advuta Shingam Talita Hiranyakashipu Tanubingam Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare. Jaya Jagadesha Hare. Jaya Jagadesha Hare. Keshavajita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Narasinghadev, 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 Jaya Narasinghadev. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vindam Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vindam Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vindam Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Bolo Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Bolo Gaura Bhakta Vindam, Gaura Bhakta Vindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Radhe Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Krishna Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Radhe Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Krishna Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal. Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal. Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal. Radhe Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Radhe Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Radhe Govinda Govinda Gopal Nandulal Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal. Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal, Hey Gopal. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hey Bol, Hari Bol, Bolo Hey Bol, Hey Bol, Hey Bol, Hey Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Barsana wali ki jai, jai jai bolo. Bolo Barsana wali ki jai, jai jai. Barsana wali ki jai, jai jai bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hey bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Radhe Govinda Gopala Radhe. 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 Radhe 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 Govinda Gopala Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What? Oh. Jai Gaur Premanandi ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. So we're very fortunate tonight to have a guest, Dr. Kim Schreier, who is our national representative in the House of Representatives in Washington from this 8th district. And she's going to talk to us a little bit tonight and tell us some nice things about how she can make life easier for our community. So, thank you, Kim. You're welcome tonight. We're very honored that you're here.
Harry, thank you. And that was beautiful. I'm so glad to be here. I did not expect to come up in front, but I wanted to wish you all a wonderful evening, and thank you for being so warm and welcoming to me. Thank you for introducing me. I think that what I want you to know is that truly that is in my heart, to make this world a better place. That's why I left my career as a pediatrician to run for Congress, so that I could work on things like healthcare and children and ending hunger in this country, working on climate change. And so I hope I am meeting those goals and making it clear that that those are my priorities and probably our shared priorities. I am here, I will be in the back of the room with an ear to listen for the things that you may want me to focus on. And I know we spoke last time, Harry, about my office really being so proud and honored to be able to help 2 of your religious leaders get their special immigrant visas renewed. And I know we've helped many more in the community, and we look forward to it. So, thank you, and I will situate myself in the back and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you very much, Kim. Yeah, you can talk to your representative, is representing you in the House of Representatives of the United States. We are very honored that you came, and we hope a lot of people talk to you tonight. You're welcome. Also, I wanted to tell you that we recently put in another request with your office to help a family that have been in the United States for a long time, but they had to go back to India to renew their visas, and they've been waiting 4 months to come back. So maybe you can put a word in. Well, we sent the information to your, helpers, so maybe something will happen. Thank you. Thank you. So tonight we want to thank the sponsors of the feast. Every Sunday we have our love feast. Every night we have free prasadam for everyone. In fact, we don't allow anyone to leave the temple without getting prasadam. So we want to thank tonight Sandeep Dua and family. He's one of our sponsors tonight. We want to thank Ezekiel Juggernaut, who's also a sponsor tonight. We want to thank Gemma Juggernaut. Thank you very much. And Divya Agarwal. Thank you, Divya. And Richa Prabhu Verleker. Thank you very much, Richa. Nitu Dacosta. Thank you, Nitu. And Damodar Prasad Prabhu. Thank you very much. It's a very good thing to sponsor our feast because we feed hundreds of people. Usually on a Saturday and Sunday, we get about 2,000 people that come to the temple, and we're very happy to give them Mahaprasadam from Radha Nilamadava. Now, for our upcoming events, on August 11th is Balaram Jayanti, Lord Krishna's brother, who appeared before him. He's his older brother. And then we have Janmashtami celebration. That's Krishna's appearance on the 19th of August. And it's a 3-day celebration, 18th, 19th, and 20th. And we want to thank everyone to please come, take part in these events, become ecstatically engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, and full of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Yes.
You want to sing Kirtans?
Sure. So, who would like to? You want to sing? Yeah, please come. We want everyone to have a chance to glorify the Lord by chanting beautiful bhajans for them.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare